Hey y'all, it's Jamie Deen here today with Paula. Not really, we're in Mom's kitchen though, and it is fall. It is fall, it is fall. The leaves are falling everywhere. Remember that song, Bob? That's Yo Gabba Gabba for those of you who do not have kids or cable television. Yo Gabba Gabba says it is fall, and it is fall. So we're having fall recipes for this month. Today we're doing a souffled pumpkin pancake. My kids love pancakes. It's a real hassle to make pancakes. When Jack was born, somebody gave me a round pancake pan with animals in it. You pour the batter, you flip them, and there's animals on the pancakes. That is the best, easiest way for me to make pancakes. Flipping them and doing them all in the skillet is a real challenge. So today this is a souffle pancake, which y'all are gonna see is gonna be delicious. So we're gonna start with 2 tablespoons of butter in this pan that we have to melt.
Have we turned on the stove? Because you know we have such good...
We haven't, but we will. Yeah, our production people aren't always. That's the wrong eye. This won't take but 1 second. So if you don't like doing pancakes at the house, if you don't like the mess or any of that stuff, this is gonna be a good recipe for you. You melt this couple of tablespoons of butter. This is 2 tablespoons of butter, and to this, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. And then we also have a 1/4 cup of pecans. Now, if you're not fortunate enough to live in the South where there are pecan trees everywhere, I use a lot of fresh pecans, and lots of times I'll just go out and pick them up myself. They sell them at the grocery store. And if you get some home and you need only a 1/4 cup for a recipe, take your pecans and put them into the freezer. And then you'll always have fresh pecans no matter what the time of the year. And we're just gonna do this mixture down in this skillet, and then we're gonna save it because this is actually the pan that we're gonna be cooking our pancakes in. So this butter's down far enough for me. We're gonna add our brown sugar. I'm gonna work this into the hot butter just until it starts to melt. So you know any recipe that starts with butter and brown sugar is gonna be a popular recipe around here because it's basically caramel, and we love us some caramel. So you see how the sugar has started to melt, and I don't want to cook it all the way down before I add my pecans in here. And we're going to turn these, I'd say maybe give this a couple of minutes to cook. These are raw pecans, so we want them to soften up just a little bit. Okay, y'all, I've cooked these pecans for about 2 minutes in our butter and brown sugar, and I'm just going to put it in a separate little bowl.
I could eat just that.
Me too, buddy. Pour that over some ice cream. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna save this skillet because we will be working with that skillet a little bit later. Our next step is our dry ingredients. And I'm gonna read off the paper because Teresa wants me to tell you measurements all the time. So what we're gonna do is mix together 2/3 of a cup of flour. We have 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and what we like to call a pinch of salt. It's 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So convenient to turn around at Mom's house and just be able to grab so many wooden items to stir with. So we're gonna mix all this up together. Okay, y'all, I didn't even have to turn this pan on. This melted 3 more tablespoons of butter for me. So we've got this. I'm gonna go into a large bowl. We're going to whisk in 3 egg yolks, 2/3 of a cup of buttermilk.
Jamie, I think it was actually 4 egg yolks. One just happened to be...
Oh, is it 4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it sure is. So that's 4 egg yolks. And we have 2/3 a cup of buttermilk. We have 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And this is 1 teaspoon, so we'll go 1. And then we'll do this 1/4. Scientific measurements around here. And then into this, we're also gonna whisk in our flour mixture that we made from before. Now the last ingredient here, I'll go ahead and get all the measurements out of the way. This is 1 cup of pumpkin puree. So the flour that we did earlier, I'm gonna whisk it into our wet ingredients. And you don't ever want to dump all your dry stuff in. It just makes it too hard to get it all incorporated. So we're repeating this process where we gradually add dry to wet. This recipe is a little bit more detailed than what y'all see from me, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. It's a simple fall pancake that you can fix. And you know, the hardest thing is trying to make sure that the last person eating a pancake can eat somewhat close to the first person eating a pancake. It's hard to make a bunch of pancakes and keep them all hot and fresh and ready. Awesome. And now we're gonna add our pumpkin puree, which it really smells like a fresh pumpkin.
Look at that pretty color.
So beautiful. This is going to be delicious. And there, on the off chance that my mama sees this, I'm going to make sure and get every bit of that egg out of there. Mama taught us that the profits are in the corners, boys. You should see me chop an onion. There's barely enough for a rabbit to eat by the time I get done with it. Okay, all this is mixed together. Let's get back to our big table. Okay, y'all, I've taken the egg whites, my 4 egg whites from the 4 yolks that I used. Now they're in a little bowl, and I'm gonna whip these until soft peaks form. So it's kind of like a meringue. I've already gotten started because this is about like watching paint dry. So we just got a few more seconds, and once this firms up, we'll be ready to move on to the next step. All right, y'all. That's soft, peaky enough for me. And you gotta be careful because I learned this the hard way in the restaurant one day. You can over whip something and break it right back down. So you don't want to beat this too much. And then another thing, which is related to you don't want to work it too much, we're gonna fold the egg whites into here. We're gonna incorporate these egg whites into our pumpkin mixture, taking care to fold it in. You don't want to overwork this, but we have to get it incorporated. I'm gently just going to work all this in. I wish I could smell this. It smells so good. Now these egg whites are going to just make our pancakes so light and fluffy. And that's all I'm willing to do. I want to be very careful with that. And so the little skillet that we started with, we're going to use it and we're going to spoon this mixture down into our skillet, which is properly greased because we have melted 5 tablespoons of butter down in here over the last little bit. If you're making this for yourself, you can just have 1 pancake. But when it comes out of the oven, you're gonna slice it like cornbread. All right. And our last step to this, before we cook it, is we're gonna get our pecan mixture, our pecans and brown sugar. Look, it's starting to harden up on me. We're making candy. I really don't want to splash your tea. I'm gonna have to break that up. Let me see what I got. Got stuff all over me. Okay, I had to break that up. It hardened up a little bit. So I'm gonna sprinkle this around. Good gracious, doesn't this look good?
And when that melts on top, it's gonna be fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Super good. So this is going into the oven now. Let me check and make sure because I'll just tell you 350 for 25 minutes for everything. It goes into the oven at 350 degrees and it's gonna cook for 20 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. I'm gonna take 1 second and kind of arrange my pecans here on top so we can see them. That's it. The oven's at 350 and we're gonna cook this for, let's check on it in 20 minutes and we'll see. And looky here, y'all, a souffled pumpkin pancake.
Oh my gosh, that looks so good.
And it smells, oh my gosh. And so we're gonna finish it. We're just gonna put a little confectioner sugar on here. Make it look pretty. Sweeten it up just a touch. And I mean, I just pulled this out of the oven, but I cannot wait to taste it. So if I were at my house serving this, Mama was gonna be so proud when I started shaking that harder than I did, but I wanted y'all to see it. I would probably let this, I'm not gonna let it cool down because everybody wants a warm pancake, but I probably would let it sit here for 3 or 4 minutes because it's just come out of the oven. And if you want to get a nice clean cut, but it's just me and y'all, so let's see what we got this way. So if you want to cut it like a pie, you got 4 folks, or if you got 8, I always like to cut it in half, and that way you get pretty true measurements. Everybody gets about the same. I know Mom has a tool for this, but she will tell you that I am hard-headed and I do not want to wait and go find that tool. So I'm always willing for the first piece to come out ugly.
Look at how good that looks.
So light and fluffy and delicious. My mouth is watering. Let me go for it. Let me tell you, I just licked my finger and the caramel stuff on the top is to die. That is good, just the way it is. But if it's a pancake, I want a little bit of syrup on here, just a little bit. Y'all, I'm telling you, this recipe is gonna be a huge hit at your next brunch or your breakfast for yourself or your family. It's really easy to do and so light and fluffy. Okay. Woo! Woo! It's gonna be hot too when it comes out of the oven. Delicious. Thanks for tuning in today, y'all. See you around the kitchen.
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.